Hey there, smart travelers! Welcome to Journey Tips. Today we're diving into something that could make or break your next trip, the latest airline carry-on rules for 2025. Picture this: you're packing for your flight, tossing essentials into your carry-on, feeling like a seasoned traveler. But here's the thing. I learned this the hard way last month at Denver International when security confiscated my favorite multi-tool that I'd completely forgotten was in my bag. Some perfectly normal everyday items could get you stopped at security, and the list might surprise you. Even worse, 2025 has brought some significant changes to airline carry-on rules, and if you're not up to speed, your next flight could turn into a frustrating and expensive mess. So let's break down what's changing, what's staying the same, and how these new rules might cost you extra at the airport. Stick around to the end for my personal checklist that I now use before every flight. Power bank regulations. Let's start with something almost every traveler carries: power banks. These portable batteries keep our devices charged on long flights, but they've become a major focus of aviation safety in 2025. In January, I was on a layover at Incheon International when news broke about a suspected power bank fire on an Air Busan flight at nearby Gimhae Airport. Everyone was evacuated safely, but it was a wake-up call for airlines worldwide. I immediately checked my own power bank and realized I had no idea what its capacity actually was. Here's what you absolutely need to know in 2025. Any power bank over 160 watt-hours, approximately 32,000 milliamp hours, is completely banned on all flights, carry-on or checked. These high-capacity batteries pose a significant fire risk that airlines won't tolerate. For power banks between 100 watt-hours and 160 watt-hours, about 20,000 to 32,000 milliamp hours, you can bring up to 2 in your carry-on, but you'll need airline approval. I recommend contacting your airline at least 48 hours before your flight if you're bringing these larger capacity banks. Most standard power banks under 100 watt-hours, roughly 20,000 milliamp hours, are allowed in carry-on luggage only, never in checked bags. This is a safety issue I take seriously after witnessing a battery overheat at a gate area last year. Here's my personal safety tip. I now write the WH capacity directly on my power banks with permanent marker and keep them in an easily accessible pocket of my carry-on. This makes security screening much faster, and honestly, airport security agents have thanked me for this simple preparation. Smart luggage regulations. Own smart luggage? I invested in a high-tech suitcase back in 2023, and it nearly became an expensive paperweight on my trip to Tokyo last year. Here's a rule you can't ignore in 2025. Many airlines are now strictly banning smart suitcases if the built-in battery cannot be removed. This regulation has gotten much stricter this year after several incidents involving lithium battery fires. I learned about this change the hard way. My first-generation smart bag had a non-removable battery, and at Chicago O'Hare, American Airlines refused to let me check it or carry it on. I ended up having to buy a new suitcase at the airport shop, an unexpected $200 expense that still makes me cringe. Before heading to the airport, verify that your smart luggage has a removable battery. If it doesn't, you might be forced to leave it behind or purchase a new bag on the spot. And let's be honest, a smart suitcase that gets rejected at check-in isn't so smart after all. If you're in the market for new luggage, I now recommend either traditional non-powered bags or newer smart luggage models specifically designed with easily removable batteries. Liquid rules update. If you've flown through the UK recently, you might have heard about the relaxed liquid rules at some airports. I experienced this firsthand at Heathrow Terminal 3 last fall, where I was shocked when security told me I could leave my full-size toiletries in my bag. But here's the critical update for 2025. As of March 2025, 6 UK airports, London City, Aberdeen, Newcastle, Leeds Bradford, Southend, and Teesside, have actually reinstated the old 311 rule due to technical issues with the new scanners. I found this out when flying from Heathrow to Newcastle, and almost had my favorite cologne confiscated on the second leg. And what about the rest of Europe? The EU had planned to ditch the 311 rule by mid-2024 thanks to new CT scanners, but those plans hit major delays. Every single airport in the EU is still enforcing the standard restrictions. Liquids limited to 100 milliliter containers in a clear, resealable bag. The bottom line? The liquid rule that's been in place worldwide since 2006 is still very much alive in 2025 at most airports. I now travel with a small set of travel-sized toiletries no matter where I'm flying, even if I've heard that airport has relaxed rules. The inconsistency between airports just isn't worth the hassle or expense of having items confiscated. Carry-on size restrictions. Flying with budget airlines in Europe? This is where I've seen the most dramatic changes in 2025. Last summer, I booked a series of flights around Europe with EasyJet, Ryanair, and Wizz Air using the same carry-on bag I'd used for years. Big mistake. At the first Ryanair gate in Madrid, my bag was flagged as oversized, and I had to pay €65 on the spot, more than I'd paid for the entire flight. Many budget carriers have shrunk their allowed dimensions for free carry-ons, often to ridiculously small sizes. Ryanair's current free baggage allowance is basically the size of a large purse, 40 by 20 by 25 centimeters. For travelers in 2025, this means two options: downsize your luggage or pay up. The most important tip I can share: always check your specific airline's latest baggage policy before flying. What was acceptable last year might cost you this year. I now take a screenshot of the baggage policy when I book, in case there are disputes at the gate. Air Canada changes. Flying with Air Canada on a basic economy ticket? I did this between Toronto and Vancouver in February, and the new policies caught me completely off guard. Starting January 2025, Air Canada made a significant change to their basic economy tickets. Passengers can now only bring one small personal item for free. Think purse, small backpack, or laptop bag. Here's what surprised me. If you need to bring a standard carry-on suitcase, you'll pay $35 for the first bag and up to $65 for any additional pieces. On my flight, I watched several passengers get hit with these unexpected fees at the gate. It doesn't stop there. Since January 21st, 2025, basic economy passengers no longer get free seat selection. Your seat is randomly assigned unless you pay extra to choose your spot. Typically, $25 to $45 depending on the flight. This is a major change from their previous policy, where passengers could select seats for free during online check-in 24 hours before departure. My advice, if you're booking Air Canada in 2025, either budget for these extra fees or consider upgrading to standard economy, which still includes a carry-on bag and seat selection. Sometimes the price difference is actually less than the a la carte fees you'd pay anyway. Banned items overview. Let's review the basics of what won't make it past security in 2025. These might seem obvious, but I see travelers get caught with these items every single time I fly. Sharp objects and tools are still absolute no-goes. That includes knives, obviously, scissors with blades over 4 inches, 10 centimeters, multi-tools with blades, and larger tools like hammers, drills, and wrenches over 7 inches, 18 centimeters. Weapons and anything that resembles one. This includes not just firearms, but also realistic toy guns, stun guns, and even some self-defense items like heavy flashlights or kubotans. Explosives and flammables remain completely banned. Fireworks, aerosol spray paint, camping fuel, and certain cleaning chemicals can't go in either carry-on or checked luggage. Last December, I witnessed a family ahead of me have their child's toy lightsaber confiscated because it looked too much like a weapon. The child was heartbroken, and the parents were frustrated, all because they didn't check the rules beforehand. Surprising banned items. Now for the really surprising items that could get you stopped in 2025. Mercury thermometers are completely banned. They might seem harmless, but break one and you've got a toxic spill emergency. I learned this when a medical kit in my bag triggered additional screening. Stick to digital thermometers when traveling. Tent poles and stakes won't make it through as carry-on. Last summer, I was backpacking through Yellowstone after flying to Montana, and security flagged my tent poles as potential weapons. They had to be checked, which meant an unexpected trip back to the check-in counter and a $35 checked bag fee I hadn't budgeted for. Multi-tools with any blade are almost always confiscated. I mentioned losing my favorite Leatherman at Denver Airport earlier. Even small Swiss Army knives on keychains are consistently taken. Toy weapons of any kind, from plastic swords to water guns, are increasingly being confiscated, regardless of how unrealistic they look. I've watched parents have to explain to tearful children why security took their souvenir lightsaber or foam sword. Save yourself the drama and pack these items in checked luggage. Sports equipment like baseball bats, golf clubs, hockey sticks, and even lacrosse sticks must be checked. A colleague tried to bring a souvenir mini baseball bat from Yankee Stadium in his carry-on and had it confiscated despite it being just 12 inches long. Powdery substances over 12 ounces, 350 milliliters, now trigger additional screening in the U.S. and many international airports. This includes things you'd never think twice about: baby powder, protein powder, baking ingredients, or bath salts. In October, my protein powder for a fitness competition in Miami led to a 20-minute additional screening process. Now I always transfer powder supplements to clearly labeled, factory-sealed containers under the limit, or just buy them at my destination. Heavy tools and appliances like drills, hammers, and even some kitchen gadgets aren't allowed in carry-ons. The rule of thumb: if it's heavier than 12 ounces and could potentially be used as a weapon, it needs to be checked. The history behind liquid restrictions. Ever wondered why you can't bring a regular bottle of water through security? This isn't just bureaucratic nonsense. There's a legitimate safety reason behind it. In August 2006, British authorities uncovered a major terrorist plot at Heathrow Airport. The attackers had planned to smuggle liquid explosives disguised in soft drink bottles onto flights bound for the US and Canada. In response, the UK and US immediately implemented a total ban on liquids in carry-on luggage. I remember this vividly because I was actually traveling through Newark the day after this plot was discovered. The security lines stretched for hours, and every single beverage, lotion, and toothpaste tube was being confiscated. It was chaos, but necessary chaos. Eventually, authorities realized a complete liquid ban wasn't practical for travelers, so they developed the 3-1-1 rule we all know today. Liquids limited to 100 milliliters containers, all fitting in one quart-sized, clear, resealable bag, with one bag per passenger. Airline rules are constantly evolving, and what seems like an innocent item today could be the reason you get stopped tomorrow. I now keep a laminated checklist in my suitcase and review it before every trip. It saved me countless times. Want to breeze through security like a pro? Here are my 3 top tips from years of frequent flying. First, take 5 minutes before packing to check your airline's specific carry-on policies. Second, organize your bag with security in mind. Keep electronics and liquids easily accessible for quick removal during screening. Finally, when in doubt, check it or leave it at home. That $15 item isn't worth missing your flight over. I'd love to hear your airport security stories. Have you ever had something unexpected confiscated? Drop a comment below. If you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button and notification bell to join the Journey Tips community. Safe travels, and I'll see you on the next Journey Tips.